Hey, everybody, it's Jim Johnson here, your host with Contractor Radio and your head coach at Contractor Coach Pro, where we coach contractors on the contractor's blueprint. The goal being to help them get control of their business so they can grow their business and truthfully get what they've been after since they started their business, which is personal and financial freedom in this aspect where they can work on it instead of in it every single day. And we do that here and help out here on the Contractor Radio podcast. We do that in a lot of different areas. One of those areas that we talk about an awful lot is finance. And so you have finance kind of a couple of different things. You have finance in running your business, but there's also selling financing and those options to your clients out there in the field. And as these projects get more and more expensive, it's less and less capable for a prospect or homeowner to purchase the item that we may be selling just straight out cash. And so financing becomes an option. I wanted to share today with you guys something from one of the best professionals I've seen at doing this. Brought on a guest today. He's amazing. He was actually at our Top Rep sales event and he did a presentation on selling financing. It was the best I've ever seen. Absolute financing guru. So don't leave. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsor, and we'll bring in our guest for how to sell financing for high ticket construction items.
Who doesn't love getting more referrals? GTR will make your referral game stronger than ever with our 4-step process. First, engage with customers through job status updates and push notifications. Then, motivate your advocates to send referrals and earn rewards. Third, track and manage all of your results through your company's dashboard. And finally, sit back and enjoy achieving up to 40 times ROI. GTR is the #1 referral platform for contractors, so book your demo today at getthereferral.com.
Hey, we're back here at Contractor Radio. Thanks to Get the Referral for that message. If you have not tried Get the Referral yet, make sure to click the link below. You get a special discount for listening in on Contractor Radio. And it is the best referral tool that I've seen out there in the field to not only track them, but reward your clients and create raving fans. Today, we're here to talk about how to sell financing and really how to sell financing for high ticket construction trade items, roofing, siding, windows, a variety of different things. And while I have some experience in that, I wanted an absolute expert to talk about this today so that we could share it with our contractors and hopefully give them an advantage out in the field. And I have brought in the finesse of finance, the guru himself, Mike O'Connell from Artis, VP of Partnerships. Mike, welcome aboard, man.
Thank you very much. That was too much. Very kind.
No, you are, man. You're too much for sure. It's like I heard your presentation at a Top Rep event, and I've heard literally hundreds of how to sell financing, either live presentations, webinars, somebody coming in and talking to our company, and I haven't met anybody that did it better, was able to explain it, do it clearly, and I want to hopefully replicate some of that today for our audience. I thought it was something that needed to be out there a little bit broader than just a one-off event. So welcome to
Oh,
the show, man. It's good to have you.
thank you so much. I enjoyed that experience so much, and that was my people, my audience, and my tribe. I love in-home sales reps. Being a former in-home sales rep before, I know the power of the tool and how I used it in the home, and why it won business for me. And I love sharing that with others. And hey, if I can help everyone win more, that's what we're all here for.
Amen, brother. That's what we do. We coach contractors to win here at Contractor Coach Pro, and we want to do some more of that. Give us a little background. Like you just kind of alluded to the fact that you sold in home, but now you're in this whole finance world. Can you kind of bring us up to speed how we got to there?
Yeah, Jim, I had a unique experience in my life where I ran a home improvement business, and I reached that point in the business where I realized that I love the front part of the business. I love the marketing. I love the sales. I just was not really good at the operations and the day to day. And it was a very meaningful experience for me because it allowed me to navigate my life back into where I find the most joy. And I know that may be an overused term these days, but gosh, it was so freeing to, when I sold my business, say, I want to focus on marketing and sales. And I actually sold a business and then went into a business as a sales rep. And same type of income, believe it or not, half the stress and a lot more happiness.
It's funny that you say that. It's actually, whenever I go and do presentations for salespeople, I want to let them know they have the best position in the whole entire industry. Their income is unlimited if they put in the right amount of effort, and they don't have all that risk, the whole pressure, responsibility, all that stuff that comes along with owning. And they sure don't have to manage, which that's one of the toughest things to do as well. So
Yeah.
it feels like you kind of follow that path.
I think people fall into certain skill sets, and I love owners for what they do. They're very good at it. And I did not have that skill set. I liked the marketing and sales. And then there's ops people who are able to just go and punch those jobs and grind it out. And they're very left-brained. I'm more of a right-brained free thinker. And for me, sales and marketing is the best spot.
So you went into in-home sales. How'd you do?
Did very well. So I was in the HVAC industry, and financing in HVAC is just baked into the cake. Those of you who are in the HVAC industry, maybe windows and baths, know how meaningful of a tool and how much it's just a core to how you do business and how you sell in the home. I've seen some verticals where it hasn't been adopted, such as roofing and some exterior products, where it's that learned experience. And I'm seeing contractors that get it and are gravitating towards those tools like finance are able to pick up market share because it's the same customer base that we're calling on. That same customer that needed their HVAC system replaced by me needs their roof replaced by you. And the same affordability needs are there. So I like bringing this tool to newer markets like home improvement. But to answer your question, it was HVAC, and I closed on a payment every single time. We had multiple lead sources. Two of them were big box stores. Every time I saw a big box lead, I knew it was a finance close. I didn't even assume cash. It was just, great. Do you have that card already available for me to go ahead, or do we need to start the application? It was very assumptive, but it played true. So that's what I was doing, and I did very well at it, so much so that one of the lenders who I was sending business to had the opportunity for a regional sales position in the area I lived in, and I was able to slide right into that opportunity, and I haven't left home improvement lending since.
So how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this since 2017.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's been a little
Yeah.
while now. It's 4 or 5 years.
Yes, sir.
And so you took all of those skills that you gained as a salesperson in positioning, finance, and took it to the other side for the lender themselves and teaching other people how to do it.
Mhm.
What's that roadmap look like? Like you've been there for 4 years. I know you just recently made a change,
Mhm.
and so tell us about how that went.
Yeah, well, I'll share like a little bit day in the life of what an account executive or someone in my role looks like. Is that what you're asking for, Jim?
Yeah, like
Mhm.
I don't know what a guy that works for a lender does. Like,
Yeah.
does he just
Okay.
call a bunch of people and say, "Hey, I need you
Got
to
it.
use
Right.
financing
Have
on
you
us,"
have you
or
seen The Wolf of Wall Street, right? Or you just
is that
doubt?
you get a boiler room?
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
No, not at all. Not at all. Look, it's the best kept secret. Being an outside rep for a home improvement lender means that I go into the markets in the states where I work, and I find contractors. We go into your business, and we have. I like to say I kind of have the three same conversations over and over again. The first one I need to have is I need to be able to talk about why my lending solution is the best in class, maybe moving business from another lender to me. Or if you're not already selling with affordabilities, then let's talk about why you need to bring that F word into your business. And once we have the buy-in, then you really talk to the owner. The owner drives what tools are in front of the sales reps. So someone like me needs to get the owner to sign up for our program, pick the products that are going to be offered to the sales reps and have that conversation. And then the fun starts. That third conversation is where I like to live, Jim. That's getting to your sales meeting. That Monday morning, whenever you have your meeting and that one person pops in with coffee and donuts, I love that space. Let's talk about, guys, let's get the app on your phone. Let's talk about sales. Let's come back a month from now and talk about the sales we closed in the interim. I just love it. That's my jelly.
Yeah, I'm actually going to do a private sales training this Friday and Saturday. And the reason I'm doing it Friday and Saturday is only 2 days I could actually do it. Like my schedule runs pretty busy. He was cool with doing it on a Saturday. So that's what we're going to do. And it is some of the most enjoyable time I spend because I get to spend it with the guys that I know are doing what I did for years and years and years. And hopefully, I'm going to share at least 3 things with them that's going to transform, I hope, their income. And that's fun. It's enjoyable. It sounds like you enjoy it quite a bit too.
It is. Jim, we have long-term relationships with the contractors that are in our book. And so when you meet those sales team, my contact list is full on my phone of sales reps, and they become friends. I like them to call me with, hey, I had a deal that went sideways, and to be there to help. That's great. Technology is really picking up those calls for me as it's gotten better and better. So now the calls I'm getting is, hey, man, you know what? That thing that we talked about in our last sales meeting, I actually did it and I won. And I not only sold the job, but I was able to maybe expand the scope of work or move into a higher end product selection. Like those are the calls I love getting. And then coming back into the next sales training and bringing that person up in front with me and sharing that with the rest of the team. That's what it's all about.
So it sounds like you do what my finance guy did whenever I was running my own contracting business. He would come in and do some training, get people up to speed with how to position, how to talk about it. What are some of the key things? Like if we're thinking about adding financing to our business, or maybe we want to improve what we're doing with financing right now, what are some of the key things a sales guy really needs to understand and know about positioning that and then closing on it? Or should we maybe talk about the decisions the owners have to make first?
It's a more logical progression to talk about the owner
Okay.
as far as the experience that I go through, because until the owner says, this is the lender that I want to do business with and selects the products, it's a very specific how whenever you're talking to the sales reps. And it's
Yeah,
tailored to that tool.
that was always our issue. Like you would have multiple lenders, right? Like we had all kinds
Mhm.
of lenders that we would use, and I'm not going to mention any names, but
Sure.
there was so many choices. There's like all these
Mhm.
different ways. Money, no money down, 18 months same as cash. There's traditional, short-term, mid-term, long-term loans, and you have all these different choices, and each one of those cost a different amount too, right? Like
Uh-huh.
you have a dealer fee on some of them, maybe there's no dealer fee. Like there's all these different parameters that it falls into. No sales guy can keep up with all that. And so
No.
we had to sit with our rep and talk with him about, okay, which ones are the right ones for us. What does that
Mhm.
conversation look like for you guys?
Yeah, I think you exactly nailed it, Jim. That what you have here is you have two different interests in mind. You have the business owner and the consumer, right? And the ideal offer for a consumer might not be ideal for the owner because there's higher cost. So it's having that conversation on here's the different plans. Before we get into like the different types of plans, we'll put your audience to sleep with that maybe next. But when we talk about the owner conversation, it's about, look, here's the offers, here's the cost. This is what it is. It is a cost of goods sold. Financing is just like the gas you put in your trucks. It's just like that price increase you receive from your manufacturer or multiple this year. You have to embed this as a cost of goods sold because it's the way people purchase today. And that's the very first conversation I have with an owner is the need for financing. Look at what's happening in the space today. We can talk the numbers about the affordability and homeowners not having access to the capital in their savings account these days. Those are all real situations. But let me prove it to you. Go on Amazon, go on Walmart, go on any type of e-commerce platform today and see a product that's over $100, and you will see a buy now, pay later solution right there tied behind it at $100, Jim.
Yeah,
So what
and
is
I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. If I can't afford to pay cash
right?
for it, I'm not doing
Look,
it.
So if you got to stretch $100 over 4 payments, what's your $8,000 roof? What's your $20,000 window package going to be? We have to talk about how it's affordable to the consumers today. Because if we don't, either our competitors are or our customers are going to have to source their own financing. Both of them mean that we're losing the sale if we're at the kitchen table.
Yeah. So back in the day, and when I say back in the day, when I left contracting in 2009, the average roof price was about $800 to $8,500. Siding job about the same, maybe a hair more, and then windows were usually about double of that, maybe triple. Today, those numbers are way, like almost double what those numbers were. The average roof price out there between 12,500 and 15 grand. So that's a significant increase. It's become almost like buying a car nowadays. And if you don't have this option to say, hey, would you like to pay cash or would you prefer to finance that?
Mhm.
You're cutting yourself off right immediately. Like if you can't make it affordable for them, they're going to find another solution. And so it's something we almost have to do at this point. Would you agree?
Absolutely. So if we're at the owner conversation still, it's we look at that. So we know that our customers need that. I love your comparison to the automotive market because the pricing point's about the same. And look at how we ask their sales force to go to market. The first thing they ask when you walk up on the lot is what kind of payment were you looking for? Like they don't even talk about cash anymore. So so let's look at that. If we know that the consumers need that, then let's look at what is it costing you. Now we know the average cost per lead has just tipped the scale of $400. So by your rep, by not closing the sale at the kitchen table, cost you $400. Now, how can we quantify the amount of no's that your rep's hearing because they did not offer financing? It starts stacking up pretty quick when you look at it in that way.
Yeah, and if you got a sales team that closes at approximately 33 to 35%, you're looking at $1,200 cost per acquisition. And so
Yeah.
you're literally setting on fire $800 on two of those sales calls. So how do we move that number by being able to
Mhm.
offer an affordable payment option? And so that number goes from 30 to maybe 40 or 50, and then learning how to actually do it. Like it takes technique. But before we get there, what does it look like for an owner? Like if you could generalize it, do
Mhm.
we pick like three different packages? What does that look like?
Yeah, and I'm happy to share a little bit about how we tailor a unique solution at Artist Credit, where I am today, to really speak to the consumer at that point of need. But for the owner, what we're doing is we're going to go through the rate card, and this is for all lenders, and you're going to see different types of loans. You're going to see what we call promotional offers or special financing is a better blanket term. What special financing means is that there's going to be 0% interest that your customer incurs. And guess what? Because your customer's not paying interest, there is a cost for this service. That means it's a higher fee to you, the contractor. That's right. And then you have other offers that are reduced interest rates. You could see an offer, yeah, you see 799, 599, 299 types of interest rates that are very, very attractive to a homeowner. Well, to get attractive interest rates, there's a cost for those loans as well because the bank's not making as much. There's not as much opportunity. We have to be made whole. So there's a little bit of a fee and there's a little bit of an interest rate. And then you have those that are more on either a risk-based model or a higher interest rate that we see in the market typically starting around 9.99 and higher. You have the opportunities to get very low or no fee programs. And those may work if you stretch out the term to where those that need a low fixed monthly cost that they don't blush at that interest rate, but you're missing the two other buying behaviors of those that are interest rate sensitive or those that want special financing. So I put them into those three different buckets and talk to the owners. I'm like, look, there's a cost for these. You want to have this blend so that you complete the experience that your customer is going to actually pull the trigger and do business with you.
Now, if I understand things correctly, I can build those into my pricing though. Like I can build it in and say, hey, I'm incurring a cost, so I'm going to build that into my pricing. And if
Mhm.
somebody wants to give me a cash discount, a cash situation, I can give a discount. That's correct,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely. That's the only way to really do it. Jim, I'm old enough to remember back in the year 2000, where there was this little restaurant with the golden arches that did a pilot program on whether or not on having credit card processing available at their counter. And would you believe it that just 21 years ago, they said there's no way that someone's going to pay for a lunch with their credit card, and they pulled it from market. Fast forward, you don't even talk to a human now. I went to one where I just, punched stickers or pictures of what I wanted to eat and swiped my card and it came out to me. So that's what's happening in the market today. It's a true cost. Now, whenever my Big Mac went up 8 cents, did I even catch it? No. So where home improvement contractors do very well is selling themselves, the business, the scope, the project, and that's what we want them to focus on. They often pause at financing because, look, we're not bankers. We didn't want to be bankers. If we would have done that, we'd have gone to school and become a banker. We love what we do for a reason. So let's make the finance part as easy as possible. And what we're seeing today is that there's new technologies and new fintech partners that are making that conversation very easy for reps to sell the job and then use this as the closing mechanism.
So if I understand things correctly, you have had a conversation with the owner. You guys have decided what the packages are that are going to be available to my guys.
Yep.
And then we're going to send the guys out after a little bit of training, I hope. And they're going to be able to start offering this. What are some of the keys to making that transition from the owner and his understanding to the sales guy and what he needs to do out in the field?
Yeah, absolutely. So let's, how I understood it was this is maybe new to an organization. It's their first time offering financing. So we had that talk with the owner and we said, look, there's some costs. We made sure that that's embedded, and now the reps know they have that lever to pull for a cash discount. The first time affordability or financing is offered inside an organization, we say you need to market with that. There's an old rule of 30s in here that look around at how the TV commercials, the television's ads, the billboards that you're seeing today. More than likely, if it's a good or service similar to yours, it's being led with an affordability offer, whether that's special financing, an affordable payment. You're going to see that because that's how people buy. You need to also shift your marketing. And that really tees up the conversation for how did this lead come to you in the first place? It may have come in because of that interest in that affordable solution. So your reps need to be able to talk to that, and they need to be able to do that early and often throughout the process. And that's what I loved about the Top Rep conference was I saw just the blueprint of how you walked a sales rep down the experience of this is what you do with the customer in order to get them to that point where it just comes down to price. And you need to sprinkle in every now and again some of those affordability solutions if you're getting pushback.
Yeah, it's I think a lot of the reason why a lot of guys don't do it is they just don't know how. They haven't practiced it. They haven't gotten the training on it that they need. But like you said, most buyers, there's buyers like me that I would prefer to pay for it cash if I can, for the reason that it makes economic sense. And so if I can get a lower interest rate than what my cash can earn for me, I'll finance. There's a reason I could pay cash for my house. I didn't. That would have been stupid. I got like a 2.2% interest rate. I can earn 10% on my house. Why would I take that cash and go put it into this big loan and not, into this big asset and not go earn interest off of that in an investment? It makes no sense at all. I think a lot of times guys don't have that conversation if it's the right product for the client. Now, you talked about some of those higher end, higher risk things. You're getting into the 9.99s and above. Those are like break evens and maybe a little worse, possibly, for what a person could invest for. So then they start making that decision, right? Like, okay, so should I just pay cash for it and not have to incur that charge? How do you handle those?
Yeah, so let's talk about why those products exist. The 9.9s and up products, because no one wants to pay double-digit interest on anything. The reason that they're being positioned in the market is because it's the lowest cost to the contractor. And I'll tell you, from coast to coast, I have always heard the common objection that, Mike, whenever we talk about financing, you don't understand. I only work with the most affluent customers, or I'm in the most competitive market in the world, and I have to have the sharpest pencil to deliver the best price. And then I look around and I jump on Google and I'm like, I'm seeing three of your competitors leading with financing, and I just visited them, and they're like $200 a square more. And I know they're growing their business because they're meeting the customer's needs. So if we start looking at it through the homeowner's eyes of a 9.9 is not going to win business when they're given an alternative, don't be that one person who's stuck on the fee. Be a couple $100 more because you're saving your customer thousands.
Yeah, so I see a lot of this. I've noticed it really over the last 3 to 5 years. And the very first place I ever noticed it is the funniest thing. Whenever I would drive out of the road that I lived down and hit the main intersection, was a T, right? Like it wasn't an actual intersection, it was just a T. And across the road was a giant pine tree. And on that pine tree was nailed a little sign that said new roof, $99 a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so this financing thing's a thing. How is that guy pulling that off was my first question, because I'm in the business and trying to figure all that out. But that sounds a lot better than new roof, $12,000, right? Like nobody calls that sign. But $99 a month, what plays into that? What's making people do that?
Yeah, well, once again, it kind of goes into that rule of 30 that I was looking to, that if you embed that into your marketing, it got your interest. It maybe made that call. And then whenever the rep went and sat down with you and discussed the finance plans, once you realized that $99 a month was an interest rate that you didn't like, in a term that was much longer that you didn't like, you wouldn't buy on it. But you're the kind of guy, you just told me, that if you saw a very attractive interest rate tied to it, or maybe a special finance offer that you don't have to write the check and you're given more time to spread that out, that you would buy on that. So it's knowing the three different buying behaviors of a consumer. And that's what we covered in Top Rep, is that if you have one of those offers presented for the three buying types in just one offering, so three plans under one offer, you're going to see the customer have one of them speak to the way that they want to buy.
So go into more detail on that. Like I know you kind of hit it on the surface, the three different buying types earlier, but I want to make it clear to everybody. Say what those three types are again.
Yes. Okay. So we know the consumer behavioral types are: one, you have a special financing customer. Those are the ones who are interest rate sensitive to the fact that they want a 0%. They have cash today, but they don't want to write the check. It's also the ones who have the opportunity within a short period of time to have access to that cash. Meaning, if you're running an insurance job and you have those checks that are coming in, that are going to alleviate the out-of-pocket cost, maybe a 12-month, 18, 24-month 0% offer is a good fit, but allows them to also choose something better than like in kind that the insurance company was going to eliminate, to move to a better roofing solution. So your cash customers and those tax returns, bonuses at work, those type of short term, that's your first consumer behavioral type. It's a promotion motivated buyer. The second one's your interest rate sensitive buyer. Those are the ones who you're going to hear the objection in the home of, oh, I'll get my own financing, or I'll work with my bank, I'll get a HELOC, I can beat that. If they want to start talking interest rates with you, you have an interest rate motivated buyer. And I don't know about you, I'm not a banker. I don't want to be a banker. I wanted to sell gray boxes and basements. And so I knew if they wanted to negotiate those terms, I had an offer or plan that was going to speak to them. And so you're going to see interest rates as low as 2.99 with some lenders. That's almost beating your mortgage there, Jim. And it's tied. It's unreal how low they can get. Now, the third buying type is what we're seeing a ton of today, and those are those that are more budget conscious. They need an affordable payment solution to tie this in. And that's where you need to have an offer that not only does the payment work, but the interest rate's still palatable to them. So if you're going to run out to market with a 19% offer, stretch it out over 100 years, I could probably get you that $99 roof, but is it really going to sell at the kitchen table?
Probably not, but there might be something just less than that. It's $200 a month, and it's 7 years instead of 20. So, okay, I get that.
Mhm.
Now, you said something earlier that drew my attention. You said that takes the three buyer types and gives them one offer.
Mhm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, that was me really talking about what makes Artist Credit special. The lender that I work with today is that we understand the psychology of in-home sales. And what we're seeing other fintech providers do is make the reps go through and pick the plan ahead of time, or maybe go through a whole list of offerings, and it gets a little confusing. We want to eliminate that need to talk about specific plans and do that for the in-home rep. So we really color code the different three buying behaviors we discussed, the behavioral types, and say if you have select one of these for each category, and then when it's shown to your customer, it's going to pull through to a sale. Now you can do that on your own with another lender and have those conversations, or you can have technology do it for you.
Now, are there some key questions that a salesperson could ask to determine one of those three buying types?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you, the first thing you don't want to ask, Jim, is do you need financing? Because that's how it always starts for a new contractor. Is like, well, I don't get it. I ask all my customers, do you need financing? And they say no. There's a negative connotation. Financing is an F word. I get it. Like, there's a lot of assumptions that go in when I just said that in front of my customer, and it puts me in a bad light. So, guys, please don't ever ask that. Just know when you to talk about the experience, when you open the door, get invited into their house, thank them for that opportunity and talk about how we're going to talk about affordability solutions at the end and just kind of setting those expectations. Now, to your question about how do we know which type of buyer they are, once again, our technology does that for you. But if you're going to talk around to it, you mention words like same as cash. You talk about interest rate and terms. And these are, once again, you have to have a base knowledge about the lender you're working with and those products and the ones that you're allowed to offer before you go down that road. And if you're well versed in that, 100% it's a great tactic to do.
Yeah, like that's a big thing for us is we call them objection defeating questions, right? And earlier in the process, we're asking questions that once we get to that whole price thing and how much it costs, we kind of know that, hey, this person is more about, I've got the cash. I just don't want to pay for it all right now. I want to pay for it over time. I want that 0% thing. Like we've
Yeah.
asked the questions that tell us like this is really the one for them to fit. But you said something about your software
Mhm.
tells us that before, like we don't have to ask those questions. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, well, and look, your scripting is amazing because it really does help identify the best way to close that specific personality when you're in place. And to do that, you have to be able to ask those probing questions and you have to be able to plant those seeds. Like I could go into a house and I already knew before I even knocked on the door, basically around what size system they were going to need. And so my three different types, my different efficiency levels, I kind of knew the cost and what those payments were going to be. So I would start planting the seeds and being able to talk about the benefits, and I would tie the benefits towards a dollar amount. So that was one of the questions or one of the seeds that I planted along the way on how they buy. So I knew if I was around $150 right now, but I talked about the increased efficiency and the increased air circulation with a humidifier tied in for just another $15 a month would be able to keep you from that runny nose that you have all the time. Things like
Three,
that, and
that's only
see how
three
they
Starbucks
react.
coffees.
What's that?
That's only three Starbucks coffees, maybe two today. But
You know what? $15 a month is 50 cents a day. I can't even get a can of pop for that.
all those sales guys analogies, right? That's what we do. We have to make it real for them so they
Mhm.
can like logically go, oh, that makes sense. Like, could I do without three Starbucks this month to not have a runny nose? Yeah, maybe so.
That's
Um,
right.
so What have you seen that makes a guy better at selling financing versus a guy that might not be great at it?
You know,
What are the
practice,
what are the heavy hitters great at?
the heavy hitters stay the course, persistence. Too often I see a contractor that's new that brings this tool in and says because it didn't work in this one situation that they go ahead and deviate away and their competition quickly passes them up. Stick with a process that works. And once again, I really see the technology. There's a huge appetite to give you a little under the covers of what we're seeing here is that there are many, many banks that want to come into this space. There have been recent acquisitions of fintechs. There's a lot of banks that want to partner in and give us their money to share with your contractors. So those that understand that there's a huge appetite on this end, we as a technology provider are here to make it so easy that it's your go-to. And that's who's winning is those who never take a tool out of the tool belt. And financing is a big, big closing tool.
So we got to take a break for one of our sponsors, but I want to come back and talk about some of the key transition statements that you might make. So I've gone from here's my presentation, demo, and all this other good stuff, and we're now going to talk about financing. So how do we transition from here to there? And then I also want to talk about a little bit of why all these fintechs are wanting to get into the home trade. What's going on there? So I want to talk about that a little bit. You good with that?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys, we'll be right back after a word from Atlas Roofing. These guys are amazing. I want to make sure that you learn a little bit more about those guys and why they're so powerful.
When you're looking for shingles, you need to look for that Scotchgard brand that Atlas has on the shingles to know that you're getting protection against those black streaks caused by algae.
I think the Scotchgard is an important part of it.
And they're literally putting their science into the product.
It eliminates all streaking on the roofs.
Everyone knows Scotchgard.
So it gives it some legitimacy. When we go into a home to sell a roof, and the Scotchgard branding's on our samples or on our literature, I mean, it is recognized.
Homeowners can't tell you what kind of brand of shingle that they have, but they can tell you that it has Scotchgard.
Husbands, but most importantly, wives. The women know Scotchgard. You go into that house and you say, you're gonna have a clean roof, it's backed by Scotchgard. Wow.
Everything comes with Scotchgard. Our new couch came with Scotchgard. Our new chair came with Scotchgard.
Hey, you got Scotchgard on your furniture. Now we got it on shingles for you. No more black algae.
It's just that brand recognition, so the client just feels really comfortable. It definitely builds credibility as well.
When we present an Atlas shingle to a customer and we tell them that this has a Scotchgard warranty backed by 3M, the trust is there.
We feel more confident that they feel confident in us that we're giving them a product that's going to last for the life of the roof.
You're not only selling the color, then you're selling the long-lasting color, and it lasts for a lifetime.
Sold. Done deal.
If I can put on all Atlas products and avoid any type of streaking and drive by that roof 10 years from now, and it looks like the day we put it on, that's what I'm looking for. That's the peace of mind I want to give my customers. It's just an easy sell.
If you're a roofing contractor out there and you haven't checked out Atlas, one of the biggest things that we need to do as contractors is position ourselves with value. By them having the Scotchgard brand backing their product, we create a value proposition that people are willing to pay for. And we've been talking about that with Mike today. He actually gave an example of, hey, for $15 more, you get all this cool stuff. People buy based on value. They don't buy based on price. We all think they do. Like we think that we're in this price competitive market. We got to, I think you said sharpen the pencil on each one of these. But what that tells me is it tells me you don't think you're worth anymore. Like if you're doing the same thing as somebody else, you are just a commodity. It's the exact same thing. So we got to position ourselves a little bit differently. One of the ways we can do that is with financing and creating a value proposition there as well. So how do we go from, I just gave this amazing value proposition demo, right? Like how amazing we're going to be at our communication and follow-up, how clean the job is going to be, how awesome we protect the home, the cool installation process that we use, how we keep things safe, how the whole process works, our final inspection, and all the other cool things that we do. And it's only like, how do we transfer from there to here? What are some of those transition statements that could maybe help a sales rep out in the field to get comfortable with going to the price part?
Yeah. Jim, thank you. And I really love that background you shared. To be honest, I've just been so jealous as I met the exterior worlds once I started working with a lender, and like how awesome that job is. I was literally replacing that gray box with a new gray box. And then you guys have the opportunity to sell, like, this is going to look and feel, and your house is going to be completely changed after this experience. You're going to have the opportunity to do this ridge vent to increase ventilation, reduce your utility savings. That was my go-to, was energy savings. But all these upsell opportunities, but it was mostly tied towards aesthetics. And look, if price was the only thing that people cared about, we'd all be driving Kia Rios today, but we don't. So clearly there's features and benefits. I love my Dodge Ram, and I'll never get out of a pickup truck because I love a truck. So
I bet you on your Dodge Ram, you don't have like roll up windows and stuff like that, right?
I don't.
Yeah, like you can
No.
buy one like that. They still sell them, but nobody buys them. They make like 5 of those a year for
No.
that one price conscious buyer. I think Atlas actually did a study on this. Only 11% of buyers truthfully consider price, like they make the decision based on price alone. So that means that 89% of other buyers don't care about that. They want the most for their money. They're looking for value. But coming back to that statement, didn't mean to interrupt you. Like, we created all this cool, amazing value, right? How do we take it from there to, all right, here's what your options are?
Because once again, it's not about the price. It's about affordability these days. So we've already beaten the dead horse that consumers are offered payment options from virtually every other marketplace that's out there. Why are we uniquely different that we feel like we need to negotiate on price alone? And the top contractors in markets that I work with and that I go into are leading with, they're not the price leader, or the lowest price leader. They are just the best at what they do, and they're able to meet the homeowner in the way that they want to buy. And homeowners want affordability. So it goes back to kind of on the affordability side, even your cash buyers don't want to write that check today unless there's a value that's tied to it. So that 12-month 0% offer or whatever term you outlay may be more meaningful to them than that 3 to 5% cash discount to write the check today. Never assume that the way that you buy is the way that your customers buy.
Right. So I have determined who my buyer is. They're this one, or this one of those 3 that you mentioned. And I'm going to go from presentation to the offer. Do you have any like transition statements that you use? Like this person is going to buy on percentage rate. Like you know that already. You've already figured that out. Is there something that you say that moves it to there?
Yeah, so I definitely am talking to the master himself on how you move from that to where it just becomes a price. So other than price or payment, is there anything from keeping us to move forward? So once you get to that point of the sale and they opt in, it's like, great. Then I move into an assumptive mode of, let's go ahead and get you pre-qualified. Now, once again, that's a word that you can only use depending on the lender type that you work with. So a pre-qualification tool means that the homeowner is going to have their credit checked, but it's not going to show up as a hit on their credit, or a soft credit check is how it's known in the industry. Pre-qualification, Jim, is the easiest bridge. It's certainly an offering that we have over here at Artis. And what that is let's go ahead and get you pre-qualified. No risk to look. And then that way we have all the payment options available for you to make the best decision.
Do any of your contractors have it on their website, like a button they can click to pre-qualify?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what we're seeing in the fintech space is that technology, because of the banking industry having such a huge appetite for getting access to new customers, your customers, is that these technologies are really have taken great advancements. So we want to be able to be at the point of need whenever you're at the kitchen table, you're in home sales. We want to be able to be used in more as less as a lead gen or an afterthought with a button on side your website. I say we in a universal term because many lenders offer the three ways that we see applications come in are point of need, on a website, button, or used in a rehash campaign embedded inside of an email or a text message.
Rehash campaign. We'll talk about that a little bit maybe before we get done today too.
Yeah.
So I've positioned this thing. I've got it to where it needs to be. And I've approached this homeowner with, is there any other reason other than price or affordability that we couldn't get you on the production schedule today? And they say,
There you
no.
go.
Because I've done all my stuff before that, right? I've built
Yep.
all the value. It's amazing. Defeated all the objections, got all those out of the way. And so now it comes to, hey, no, none of that's a problem. That's just price or affordability. Then what? What does it sound like?
Right. Well, there's a beautiful blueprint that's at the top rep events that I highly encourage everyone to go see. What I would encourage is get the application submitted by the homeowner so that we can qualify them for the other options. You can always write the check. And if they just don't want to fill out an application, pull that lever, move them into a cash buyer. You've certainly been in that space and familiar with those customers. But when you do have a customer that fills out an application and you see that approval, then you get to shift the focus into more ways that they can purchase with you today. Then it's really, okay, great. Jim, we talked about our 12-month same as cash. And that means we can go ahead and get you on the production schedule today. And now you have 365 days for you to go ahead and enjoy this new build. You're going to love it. And in that time, you pay off the roof under your own terms. And there's absolutely no interest that's going to be accrued to you. That is kind of an explanation to the promotional buyer. If you talked about lower interest rates on, no, just give me the best price. Give me the best price, sharpen your pencil. I'm going to go down to the local bank. Great. Have that lower interest rate on there. It's Jim, here we have a 5.99 interest rate or whatever it is that your company is leading with. That's the lowest interest rate. Say, here we have this. Now, the benefit of this is that it's approved today. There's no need for you to take your time or tie up any of the equity that you have in your investment. This is our lending partner who has faith in you and has taken this just on your signature alone. Now we can go ahead and move forward and get you on the production schedule at just $599, which I think you'll see is going to be very competitive than if you decide to go ahead and move that to your local bank.
Yeah, one of the ways I will sometimes approach this, should I put you on the production schedule for this week or next week? That way it's a choice still of that homeowner of him, but the either choice is yes. It's like this one or that one, right? And when you leave them with a choice instead of just a one situation, like, can we put you on the production schedule today? No, right? Like you can get a no right there. We don't want to get that. And so we give them a choice that doesn't include no. We can be real successful with that close as well. You said something that was really something I wanted to point out to people listening. You said, well, let's go ahead and see if we can get you pre-qualified. You didn't say, words to me are powerful things, right? Like pre-qualifying, like, am I up to snuff is what that feels like, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of almost excited, like maybe I am, maybe I'm not, right? And there's always this feeling of, I don't know, what's on my credit report? And all that stuff's running through their head. Oh, don't worry about it. It doesn't even go on your credit report. It's just a pre-approval, a pre-qualification. I wouldn't even say approval, pre-qualification. When you say, let's see if we can get you approved, that has a whole different connotation to it. And that's right. A bit negative, right? Like it has a bit of a negative vibe to it. Pre-qualifying, hey, I can qualify. That's great. Are you going to get approved? Maybe not. So there's that part that goes with it. I thought that was really key by the way that you approached it. Is there anything that you think, like golden nugget wise, maybe one or two or three, you'd like to share with somebody today to help them be successful with selling financing?
Yeah, Jim, it's feel comfortable with the tool. Just practice. The worst thing you can do is learn how to use that technology in front of your customer. I always say, practice, it makes perfection. And so you want to be a seasoned pro. You don't need to be a banker. We've kind of talked around the different lenders and the technology that's in the space, that just feel comfortable with the tool that your owners have put in front of you, the one that you actually know how to use it, because it is such a strong tool. Just practice, because trust me, those who are going in and using that at time of close are winning more customers.
Yeah, the more you do something, the better you get at it. You're always scared of it at first. Practice a whole bunch on your own. Say it out loud. Don't just say it in your head because that ain't real. Record yourself even. Like, just do a video recording of you doing a practice presentation, and you'll realize how terrible you really are. But you can keep practicing and become really good at it. We got to do things several times before we become comfortable. So the last thing, you mentioned that these finance companies, they're hot and heavy on the home trades aspect of things. Why is that?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah, well, look, homeowners typically are the ideal customer for a bank. So what we know is that home improvement really grew inside the last year and a half, and that is where people wanted to spend their money. And so banks obviously have a lot on their balance sheet they want to get rid of. And the customers they wanted to get to were doing business with contractors. And so I did want to spend a little time on different financing options that you see today. We've talked about kind of the different lenders and how there are different types that are in place. So really do your background on who's the lender you're working with, what type of approvals do they make? There's terminology as far as, are they a prime lender? A first look lender is another word. Are they a subprime lender, second look? Are they full spectrum? Are they an aggregator to where it's just a technology that's taking one application and then sending it out to like 20 banks? And then the process is unknown from there. And you might not even, as a contractor, get paid directly. So really research, because there's a lot of interest in this space and a lot of emerging technology, that the one that you choose to work and do business with is actually aligned with how you go to market.
So you're the finance professional, the guru of selling it, also the guru of representing and teaching people with it. This move is fairly recent for you to move to Artis. Can you share with us why you chose, why are they positioned in a way that the guy that believes 100% in finance says, I got to go with these guys?
Jim, because it's all about ease and speed in our industry. And remember, my love and my passion is to help my sales reps, my tribe, be more successful. And so to do that, I have to be with the best lender that has the most advanced technology to make it so easy and just lays up that approval so that we actually win whenever we're in front of our customers. And that's what Artis does. And I do want to touch on a special offer that we have for you and all those listening. Sorry.
No. Tell us more.
Okay, so what makes Artis different than the lenders that you may be working with today, or why they're a good fit for you as a finance partner, is because financing can be difficult. I just talked about a lot of different rates and terms. You're like, man, I can't, too much, right? So let's have the technology do that. It's there. We know this. We're seeing it elsewhere. So what if, Jim, I could tell you that, regardless of the size of your company, but especially those who want to grow their sales team, I had a finance platform that was so easy that the owner and the Artis rep are going to get together. They're going to get it set up. They're going to get the right plans in place, aligned for you, so that all your sales team has to do is push a button. And then the finance conversation is going to be taken over by the technology. That's what that's exactly what we do. So how we do that is we remove all the friction that goes with financing, all the what ifs, all the pendings, all the asks for more information. Let's eliminate all those and have the customer go ahead and get a text message or an email that comes from your company. And it says, Jim's home improvement company is sent you this link. You open that up, you fill it out. It's 3 easy pages: name, address, income, social, right? That's the minimum information that's required. And when that customer hits submit on there, it goes through a deep embedded underwriting experience to where we say more than other lenders because we have multiple banks on the back end that have different buying behaviors as well. And so we're able to get our products to multiple banks so that we say yes for you to win more. So approval ratings are huge as a sales rep. We say yes more. And then when we say yes to that homeowner, their experience is, wow, not only am I approved, but here's 3 different offers. So I'm not being pigeoned into that no fee, higher interest rate program that my owner wanted me into. That worked great for your business, but isn't the way I do business. I'm seeing the 3 behavioral types. I'm seeing my special financing, promotion motivated buyer. I'm seeing an reduced interest rate offer. I'm seeing an affordable budget offer. If you really have that full spectrum of offerings, 97% of our customers that get approved go forward and choose to do business with us. That means your contractors win with approvals.
I like the sound of that because that tends to be the thing that holds us up a little bit. We go through
what
the whole
else?
deal, everything's amazing. They want to buy it. They want the affordable payment. We go to get them approved and it doesn't work out. Because I have one option, that one option doesn't like it. Their credit score is just a hair off or whatever the reason is. But it sounds like you guys have multiple options that make the opportunity to get more people approved than would maybe be approved in another situation. And it sounds like you're also almost have a good, better, best type end of it. It's here's your 3 options. Just pick the one that works for you, right?
Exactly. We know that wins. And you know what you didn't hear me say is you didn't hear me say all the what ifs on you're approved, but it's pending this. You need to actually own the home. Can we add a co-applicant to the deal so we can increase the income? Are you going to be able to submit your work order that reflects the same dollar amount you're requesting? There's a whole lot of friction points that it's been difficult to work with lenders. We've removed all of that. It's just as easy as I.
Sounds like you might have had a few of those objections along the way.
Once or twice, and that was those implied steps that made it hard to work with a lender. They're gone now. We are truly that easy to work with. That look, it's I don't know why an audience member, someone listening today, wouldn't want to go ahead and try that link in the show notes and receive them.
I think if you sell anything that's more than $3,000 or $5,000 or so, somewhere in there, what we call high ticket home service, you should be offering financing. It just should be. Even if you're an insurance restoration contractor, we're actually working to change this industry to stop being these guys that just rely so much on the insurance company to determine what we're going to get paid. Go sell the project for what you're worth, finance the thing, and tell the homeowner to do whatever they want with their insurance money. Great down payment if you want it to be, or if you want to go to Aruba, go to Aruba. It's good with me. That's the buyer's decision. That's not our decision to make. We should allow them to do so. So it's why I'm so excited about what you're doing at Artis. You kind of alluded to it there for a second, but I talked over you, and I don't want anybody to miss it. We got a discount for anybody that's listening to this podcast, or if you're a Contractor Coach Pro client, we've got a discount. There's going to be a link in the description down below. You click that, you'll get on with one of the Artis guys. They'll talk with you. And if you decide to go to Artis, it's going to save you some money on your financing, which who doesn't want that, right?
That's right.
Awesome. Mike, now for folks that are just looking into this and kind of figuring, can they talk to you directly?
Absolutely.
Or do you have a team?
We do have a team. We have both an outside and an inside sales team. So for those of you that would like someone to come in person and train the sales team, I cannot make the schedule for our outside sales team, but I'm happy to put you in touch with the correct representative for your state. I can always be reached at any Top Rep event. For those of you that come, love participating in those. And my best email is MOconnell@heyartist.com. I'll include that in the show notes. Happy to take those inquiries and pass them along to the best sales rep for the state that you reside in.
Sweet. Really appreciate it, Mike. Awesome job today. Like I said, you know more about selling financing than I will ever know. And so that's super cool to have you on. Thank you. I wanted to have somebody that really knew it inside and out, backwards and forwards, because in all honesty, I mean, we did the same thing. We're like, hey, here's our 3 options. And so there you go, right? There wasn't anything much harder than that, but you gave us some of the background, the insight into it, how we can make it simple today with technology. I think that is key. And so thanks. You did a great job. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate the opportunity. And I love the people who listen to you and you're following. That's exactly the kind of contractors who are going to grow and win, and look forward to working with them.
They're some good people. They're good people. We love to hear back from them. And with that, I'll let you go. We're right at an hour. I will put you off to the side there. I'm going to go ahead and finish it up, and we'll get you on your way. I know you're a busy guy.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you again.
Yeah. All right, guys, that was Michael Connell from Artis Finance. There is a link in our show notes down below to get a hold of those guys. It'll save you some money. Use that discount. And just for being a listener of Contractor Radio, part of the Contractor Coach Pro community, there's not a better guy on the planet to talk about financing with than Michael Connell. He will help you out. He will make sure that you get the right salespeople out there to teach your salespeople how to use the tool, which sounds like it can't be all that hard. Seems pretty easy. I suggest you add it to your business. We talk here about strategy and how we approach our business and how we gain an advantage over the competition in our market. And there's no better way from a sales perspective than adding financing to what you do. It could be the right thing for your client. Now, keep in mind, we're all about morals and ethics. And so we want to stay good there. That's one of the reasons why we've actually gotten behind Artis, because they believe the same thing. And we want to see you do it right out there in the field. Thanks for listening to us today, hanging out with us on this episode of Contractor Radio on how to sell financing to high ticket home trade buyers. And we really appreciate your time. Hope to see you in the future. And as always, subscribe. Don't miss an episode. We share valuable information all about this contractor's blueprint and how to help your company get control so it can grow and you find personal and financial freedom. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next episode.